Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It is me, your girl Britt Reacts, and today we're going to react to a video that was sent to me. This is another Charlie Kirk debate. This one is entitled The Best Gun Debate I've Had in Years. We've not talked about this topic on my channel much. I'm a little reluctant because I don't think I have strong views, but as a parent, I just don't understand why it's so hard to want to find some type of reform. But I digress.
Hey Charlie, how are you? So I just had a question on your thoughts on if we need more gun control in the country or not. I'm very pro protecting America and the citizens that live in it. And so I think that we should have more gun control because there's a lot of school shootings that happen, as we mentioned. And, I just think it would do a lot to protect the people. And I think the Second Amendment also qualifies that we should have regulations for guns. I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Sure. Do you think gun ownership is a right or a privilege?
I think it's a right, but it comes with responsibilities.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, I think that there should be things in place, things like red flag laws and things like that. The AG just approved Mel Gibson to get his gun rights back, even though he had a domestic violence charge. So, I don't think the people that commit these violent crimes should be able to buy guns and things like that. And I think we should have red flag laws in place to make sure that those violent criminals aren't getting guns.
Okay, so let's go. So tell me, in your perfect world, what would constitute a red flag?
Just things like, we can look into any kind of medication and things like that can affect someone's...
That could be dangerous, right? That could be there's a lot of vets that come home from war and that are on a lot of medication. A lot of vets could have their weapons taken away.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying... Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you. It's
Bless
the
you.
pollen or something.
Bless you.
I'm not necessarily
bless
saying,
you.
It's really to prevent, future shootings and things like that, and also, putting in place things like a federal registry so that we know, the types of guns that people have, and, it would just essentially be a federal registry that shows these are the guns that this person has, in case a cop has to go on something like a domestic call. That's the most dangerous call they can go on. So.
Yeah, I could see you're coming after this from a good perspective. Let me ask one other question. What would you say is the ultimate and final purpose of the Second Amendment?
I think it's self-defense against a tyrannical government, which...
We agree. Sure, great. Keep going.
Well, but I think within the Second Amendment, it also implies that we have high regulation. It's in the first four words.
Sort of.
Of it.
Well-regulated militia
Right.
actually meant well-armed, but that's a separate issue. But
well, how do you know? You're interpreting what the Founding Fathers
Well,
put
they
in.
said it in the Federalist Papers, right? So it's not just me, but also in the Heller decision, in the 5-4 decision, that said that gun ownership was a right. This was a hotly debated thing.
But do you disagree? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you disagree with the idea of a federal registry like that?
Oh, without a doubt. The
You
only
do?
reason you'd want to register the guns is if you want to confiscate them.
Well, or to make sure that people like officers of the law are protected and know what they're going into. A domestic...
That's a good argument.
Right.
To your credit. I will try to make a better argument where the problem of the government knowing where every gun is would then lead itself towards mass confiscation. And I would agree with you, a well-armed citizenry is the greatest protectorate of liberty and freedom in this country.
Even though the...
Okay. I am not a gun owner. I've just never really been around a lot of weaponry. I didn't grow up around people who were gun owners. With that being said, I do absolutely believe and understand that people have the right to and should have the right to own weapons, protect themselves, so on and so forth. I agree with Charlie. I think this man is coming to what he views as a problem with great intention of solutions. I do understand just the degree of, what's the word I'm looking for? I get how the words control and rights and protection, I think those three words are big trigger words in this debate about gun reform, changing gun laws. But I don't know anyone who is happy about what goes on in our country in regards to people obtaining weapons and then going into schools and assaulting children, teachers, staff. I don't know anyone, right? And so I don't think that's the issue. I think trying to figure out how to allow people their rights, allow people to live within the Second Amendment, but also find a way to absolutely, without a doubt, protect our children. And I think that has become the hardest thing to figure out or solve. And so it's just disheartening, because I think let me go back. Sorry. This is why I have not talked about this topic, because it's just so hard for me to talk about, because it's like I totally understand people's passion about the ability and the right to protect themselves. But do we not, or should we not have the same or equal passion about protecting our children? And I'm not saying that one is exclusive to the other. I'm just saying, like, could we come together instead of fighting each other on it? Like, okay, how do we figure this out? Because there are so many people who are able to access weapons who shouldn't be allowed to. There's so many illegal weapons just floating around that people are buying in the black market and all types of things. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know if there's a solution. I don't know what that solution looks like. I just wish, as a citizen, as a parent, as a civilian, as a it could feel like there was a little bit more trying happening on the legislation front for all people perspectives. I like that Charlie is really trying to understand this man's perspective, and he's like, please go on, like, help me understand. And I think this guy is obviously super educated on the Second Amendment, and he has a strong stance on it. So yeah, and this is me being very, like, just honest and transparent in how I feel about it, not trying to be divisive, because I think this is a very divisive topic. I understand the passion that gun owners have for their weapons and their right to bear those arms and their right to protect themselves and their families. And I think the same kind of way we equate, like, the bad cops that spoil it for all the good cops, it's the same thing for all the legal rightful owners that own guns, and they have never broken a law. They've never harmed anyone. You know what I mean? I think it's the same thing. Like, these people are like, we're letting the bad apples corrupt the ones of us that do it the right way, or, you know, and take all the precautionary measures, yada, yada, yada. I get that. But to me, and this is my personal opinion, nothing should come before the innocent lives of children and educators. And so for that reason, I wish we could all have the same fire and passion toward trying to buckle down on the bad guys in this situation. Okay.
The Army has things like drones and tanks and things like that outarm, citizens that have
Yes and
just
no.
a
I
handgun.
mean, we've seen it in several instances where at least a citizen, that's a good argument, but I would say a little flawed.
He's like, that's a good
where
argument.
The citizens are
but
able to protect themselves in some ways. It's a much harder population to control.
I understand, but so you think a federal registry would infringe on the rights?
Potentially. I mean, I think that there's no good argument, I think, other than potential. I ascribe to the government bad motives and bad intentions when it wants to infringe more on these types of freedoms and liberties.
Well, I understand. I just personally don't see it as an infringement because, like we just said, and I think we agreed that owning a gun is a right. However,
Yes.
I think it was responsibilities. But also I wanted to ask, is voting a right or is that a privilege?
Well, it is a right, and so felons can get their rights back, right? And so,
Right.
but rights can be suspended or delayed, and we
Right,
both agree
but-
with that. So,
right,
for
but-
example, like somebody in prison doesn't get guns.
Right, no, of course.
Somebody in prison doesn't have the same free speech rights that you
Right,
might have.
but they can come out and buy an illegal weapon. And so, can we do something about that? Just a question. What are your thoughts?
Prison doesn't get guns.
Right, no, of course.
Somebody in prison doesn't have the same free speech rights that you
Right,
might have.
but what's the first thing that you have to do if you want to vote in this country? You have to register, right? So it's a federal registration to be able to vote in this country. So why not, and we can agree that, keeping safe and, keeping our elections to where people who shouldn't vote aren't voting is, that's keeping America.
I do understand that this man's proposal is flawed. I think everything is flawed, but whatever. But I think this is, in my opinion, one of the best ideas I've heard. Like, if you have a registry, just for any reason, right? Like, if anyone that purchases a weapon, it immediately goes into a registry for the entire country, let's just say hypothetical. Then in any instance where someone, an officer is called to something, they're pulled over, they show up, even the airport or anything, you put in the database, oh, this person pops up, then we've already earned some type of understanding, some type of trust, some type of something in a situation that could easily go wrong. And on the other token, if you pull somebody over, or you at the airport, or whatever the situation is, you put them in a registry and you don't see this person is registered to own what they have on them, immediate crime. I don't know. I just think it's an idea worth talking about, is what I'm saying. Like, I often say, like, I don't like to come to a problem, something I view as a problem, without a solution. And this one, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I just want our babies to stop dying when they're trying to learn. I want our teachers to stop dying when they're trying to teach. I want our school staff to stop dying when they're trying to support. And I don't think it is legal gun owners' faults. I don't think it is registered gun owners' faults. I don't think it is gun stores' faults. But I do think as we have rights, we also have responsibility. And as we have citizenship to the United States of America, we also have responsibility to our babies, to our children, to our educators. Like, we have a responsibility to try to figure out how to keep them alive. But yeah, I think again, these type of conversations are so good, because at least you're not just complaining. At least you're not just saying, shame, shame, shame. It's your fault. It's your fault. We're having a dialogue, which dialogue is so good for understanding and directing toward change, in my opinion, in my humble opinion.
America safe, because we don't want people who
That's a fair point. I would say there's something that there's a technical difference between a voter registration roll and a gun registration roll.
Guns are much more dangerous.
Well, also, but guns, in many different ways, they would go after the guns a lot more than, like, I don't know, the voter registration roll.
Well, how do we know, though?
My worldview comes out of one in the 20th century, where almost every totalitarian government went after the guns first. And the confiscation of guns then leads into the erosion of freedom and liberty.
Right, but wouldn't you say in the 20th century, as you just said, that the disparity between the technology that citizens had to protect themselves compared to what the military had, wouldn't you say that there was a much smaller disparity as opposed to what we see nowadays?
Somewhat. I think that's a fair point.
So
I'm acknowledging that's a fair point.
Okay.
But do you see my perspective as well?
No, I do
that,
understand.
That armed citizenry, also it says shall not be infringed, so we have to kind of wrestle with those two things simultaneously.
But so if it's just a semantics argument, then to that point,
well, it's not. I mean, semantics is meaning. That's literally what the word means. But
you're saying because it says shall not be infringed, we can't do anything.
No,
I'm saying, does that mean voting rights can be infringed? Because it doesn't say it cannot be infringed.
I'm saying I err on the side that more government regulation around guns means that they'll try to take good people's guns away, which then results in less global, or let's just say national, freedom and liberty. What if getting the medicine you need didn't?
All right, I'm gonna stop this here, since Charlie's in the middle of a ad anyway. I will link the full video if you want to watch the full video. Again, I am never here to be divisive. I just want to start dialogue and conversation so that we can all understand all people's points of view. Yeah, that's it. Let me know your thoughts. As always, if you cannot be kind with your perspective, your point of view, or your opinion, I ask that you don't leave your comment. But if you can, just write your comment without any kind of nastiness. Go for it. I'm here to read it. Let me know your thoughts on this topic. Let me know your thoughts specifically on this debate and this gentleman's thoughts and ideas, what you think about what a registry for weapons would do or look like. Feel free to educate me more on any of the laws and our rights. And feel free to go and have the day you deserve. Peace.